So the question that comes in today is, how do I create innovation capture program within an enterprise? So this is a pretty typical problem where companies want to become more strategic about their patent program. So you may have been in a circumstance where you have ideas come up and you'll think about filing a patent, and you'll kind of spuriously address those circumstances. But then at some point you may fall into a certain routine where you want to have a regular program where you're thoughtfully going through the patent mining or capture process, having some sort of internal vetting, maybe a patent committee, and then working with outside counsel to do drafting, and then further tracking it through filing and so forth. So I think once you get beyond probably filing a half dozen patents a year, it very quickly becomes there's a lot of moving parts, and finding a way to go about formalizing that process into a workflow and tracking it kind of becomes necessary. What you'll find is that there's too many innovations happening in too many different places within the company for any one person to keep straight. So you might be on the technical side, maybe a CTO, or maybe you're on the legal side, and you are tasked with managing this process and making sure that you're filing patents on a regular basis. So sometimes companies will come up with a quarterly goal to file so many patents a quarter or a year or something like that. And that's where really formalizing the process becomes important. So one of the things that we've done is we've developed a tool to go about doing that. But a lot of companies will have much less formal process. You might have an invention disclosure form that's, could be just a Word document. Your counsel can give you examples of those. You might have, you might put it on your intranet at the company. You might roll out some training so that people know how to fill out the form and engage with the program. Some people will put in a bonus program to incentivize inventors to participate with the process if you're trying to get the number of ideas into the pipeline increased. But some way to kind of capture it and then track it. Maybe you have a spreadsheet. With our tool, it gives visibility to both the inventors and whoever's managing the program to see all the ideas that are sitting there in the capture phase, and then that are being vetted, and then which ones are out to counsel being drafted, and then which ones have been filed. Those are kind of the 4 stages of our workflow. But every company has a little bit different process. Like if you're a very small enterprise, or maybe the number of ideas you're seeing coming into the program is so small that you're not hitting your metrics, vetting becomes less important, right? But when you have an abundance of ideas, or you're trying to be very strategic on what you file on, going through some sort of process where you're looking at what's important, what's worth spending money on, and that sort of thing becomes very important. So almost everybody has these 4 stages: capture, vetting, drafting, and then filed. So our tool tracks that in a very visual way, but really anything should work. And if you're at that point where you're finding it's getting unmanageable, you're filing enough patents or working on enough things that's hard to track, consider a more formal process. So I hope that helps. If you have any comments, put them in down below, and we'll get to them next time, or if you have any questions. And we'll see you next week.